Welcome to the iRogya Wellness Podcast, your quick guide to a healthier life. In each episode, we'll explore practical tips and insights to help you on your journey to optimal health and well-being. Let's dive in.
So, you know that feeling, right?
Oh, yeah.
The one where, like, the morning energy just starts to tank and suddenly that sharp focus you had, gone.
The brain fog rolls in.
Exactly. You're just staring at your screen or, whatever task, and it feels like your brain's just not firing. It's that classic slump.
That dip in, both physical energy and mental clarity. So many people struggle with that daily.
Totally. And we reach for, the usual suspects, more coffee, maybe something sugary, but then you get the downsides, right?
Right. The jitters for that awful crash later on. Maybe it messes with your sleep. It's not always a great trade-off.
Which makes you think, isn't there like a better way, something more natural to support energy and focus that actually works with your body?
That's the key question, isn't it? How do we maintain performance in this demanding world without just overriding our natural systems? Finding something that supports rather than just pushes.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're getting into today. We've got some really interesting source material here, all focused on the science behind a healthy nootropic energy drink called LIMU BLU FROG 2. So our mission for this deep dive is to really peel back the layers, unpack the science presented in these sources. We're going to look at the individual ingredients.
Yeah, what's actually in it.
Right. And more importantly, explore how the science suggests they work together. We want to get to the why and how it's designed to boost both physical energy and mental sharpness.
And these sources, they really try to go beyond just saying it gives you energy. They dig into the proposed mechanisms, the sort of biological pathway.
How it actually works in the body.
Exactly. At a cellular level even. It gives you a much deeper appreciation for how these natural compounds might influence how we function, how we perform.
Okay, so let's start right there. Based on the science overview we have, what exactly is LIMU BLU FROG 2?
Well, fundamentally, the sources describe it as a healthy energy drink, but specifically a nootropic one. So aimed at cognitive function too.
Comes in a can, easy to drink format.
Right, convenient. And the big emphasis in the material is on its composition. It's described as a blend of mostly natural ingredients.
And the science overview lists some key ones, doesn't it?
It does. It highlights things like taurine, acetyl L-carnitine, HCl. We'll unpack that one. Guarana seed extract, quercetin, L-theanine, and inositol. Those seem to be central components.
But there's something else mentioned that sounds pretty unique, the Lima seaweed blend.
Yes, that's definitely presented as a distinguishing feature. Specifically, the sources mention bladderwrack and wakame seaweeds.
The seaweed in an energy drink. Interesting. What do the sources say about why they're included?
They're described as being incredibly nutrient-dense, packed with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and other beneficial compounds. The suggestion is they provide broad support for overall health.
So not just about immediate energy, but maybe building a foundation.
That seems to be the idea, providing baseline nutritional support. And another really critical point the sources keep emphasizing is that the energy boost you get is supposed to be without those harsh side effects.
Right, the jitters, the anxiety, that awful crash you get from some other, maybe more synthetic stimulants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sources consistently frame it as aiming for a smoother, more sustained energy lift combined with that enhanced focus.
Okay, smoother energy, better focus. Sounds appealing, but someone listening might be thinking, all right, just tell me if it works. Why do I need the science lesson? Why is digging into these mechanisms actually valuable for you, the listener?
That's a really important point. Because look, knowing something might work is okay. But understanding how it's designed to work, that's empowering.
How so?
Well, it moves you from just being a consumer to being sort of an informed participant in your own health. When you start to grasp the underlying biology, like what taurine actually does in your brain, or how acetyl L-carnitine fuels your cells, it's not just about this one product anymore.
It gives you insight into your own body.
Exactly. It helps you connect the dots. You see an ingredient list, and you have a better sense of what those compounds are meant to be doing. It helps you make more informed choices overall, maybe choosing natural support that works with your body's systems instead of just hitting it with a hammer.
Right, moving beyond just masking fatigue to actually supporting the systems that generate energy and focus.
Yeah.
Building something sustainable.
Precisely. It's about understanding why something might be effective, not just that it might be.
Okay, that makes total sense. It's about being empowered by understanding. So let's do it. Let's dive into these ingredients one by one based on the scientific details in our sources. First up, Guarana seed extract, probably the most familiar energy ingredient for many people.
Yeah, guarana is definitely well known. Comes from the Amazon, used traditionally for ages for its stimulating effects. And the key player, as the sources point out, is caffeine.
Okay, so a natural source of caffeine, like coffee or tea, is it just the caffeine doing the work then?
Well, caffeine is the primary driver, yes. But the sources actually suggest there might be a bit more going on, which we can touch on. The main way caffeine works, scientifically speaking, is as an adenosine receptor antagonist.
Okay, antagonist. It blocks something.
Exactly. Adenosine is a chemical in your brain that builds up during the day. It signals tiredness, makes you feel drowsy. Caffeine basically fits into the same docking stations the receptors that adenosine uses. But it doesn't activate them. It just sits there, blocking adenosine from getting in.
So it stops the slowdown signal from getting through. It's like taking your foot off the brake rather than hitting the gas.
That's a great way to put it. By blocking adenosine, caffeine lets your brain's natural stimulating chemicals like dopamine have more influence. The sources say this leads directly to increased alertness, wakefulness.
Better cognitive performance, less mental fatigue, right?
Yes, those are the key effects mentioned. Now here's where it gets interesting. The sources mention that guarana provides quick energy from the caffeine, but they also say it has other things that work with caffeine to give you energy that lasts a long time and helps the brain work better, making you smarter and more focused.
Other things, like what?
The sources don't explicitly name other specific active compounds in that context, but guarana seeds naturally contain more than just caffeine. They have other phytochemicals, like polyphenols. It's possible these interact with the caffeine, maybe affecting how it's absorbed or how long it lasts, potentially leading to a smoother or more sustained effect compared to just taking pure caffeine. The sources definitely frame it as a bit more complex than just a caffeine hit.
Huh, interesting. So the plant itself might offer a more nuanced effect. Okay, next on the list. Taurine, you see this in a lot of energy drinks. What's the science behind it, according to our sources?
Taurine is technically an aminosulfonic acid, but yeah, often called an amino acid.
Right.
It's actually super abundant in our bodies, in the brain, heart, muscles. We make some, but we also get it from food, mostly animal products.
And what does it do? The sources mention several roles.
They do. One key thing highlighted is regulating calcium levels inside our cells. That might sound a bit technical, but getting calcium balance right is absolutely fundamental for tons of processes, muscle contractions, nerve signals, basic cell communication.
So it's working at a really deep cellular level. How does that connect to energy and focus?
The sources link it to a few key areas. For the heart, they say it helps reduce blood pressure and is generally good for cardiovascular function, likely tied to that calcium and electrolyte balance in heart cells.
Okay, heart health. What about physical performance?
Yeah, the sources claim taurine can boost exercise performance. The idea is it might help get more oxygen to your muscles, helps them recover faster after you work out, and could even help prevent injuries.
Muscle support, recovery. Definitely relevant for physical energy. But the sources also talk about brain effects, right?
Absolutely. This is a big one. They state taurine improves cognitive function, boosts memory retention, sharpens mental focus, and maybe even enhances creativity.
Wow.
They link this to its role in regulating neurotransmitters, those chemical messengers brain cells use to talk to each other. By helping to balance neurotransmitter activity, taurine can apparently improve mood, reduce stress levels, and fight mental fatigue. So you've got this one compound impacting cell health, heart function, muscle performance, and brain chemistry.
That's a remarkably wide range of influence. Really shows how connected everything is. Okay, moving on to acetyl L-carnitine HCl. That's a mouthful. ALC, AL-CAR.
Yeah, ALC or AL-CAR is easier. It's a naturally occurring compound, basically a modified form of L-carnitine. It has an acetyl group attached, which is important because, according to the sources, this helps it cross the blood-brain barrier much better than regular L-carnitine.
Ah, so it can get into the brain more easily. And its main job, the sources say energy metabolism.
Exactly. Its core role is described as crucial for energy metabolism. Specifically, it helps transport fatty acids into the mitochondria.
The power plants of the cells.
Right. Inside the mitochondria, those fatty acids get converted into energy the cell can actually use. So ALC is presented as helping your body, especially your cells, efficiently turn fuel, particularly fats, into usable energy.
And since the brain uses a ton of energy...
Precisely. Efficient energy supply is critical for brain function. The sources directly link ALC's role here to enhanced cognitive function. They say it improves memory, supports overall brain health, boosts mental clarity and sharpness. Basically, if brain cells get fuel more efficiently, they work better.
Makes sense. And it helps with mental fatigue, too.
Yes, the sources mention it may help reduce mental fatigue and promote mental well-being, again, connecting that cellular energy supply to how sharp and resilient you feel mentally. And on the physical side, by helping utilize fat for energy, it's suggested to potentially support physical activity, especially endurance.
So it's like high-octane fuel delivery for both body and brain.
Got it. Next up, quercetin, described as a plant pigment.
Yeah, quercetin is a flavonoid. Flavonoids are pigments that give fruits, veggies, herbs their bright colors. Think onions, apples, berries, tea. Quercetin is well known, according to the sources, for its strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties.
Antioxidants, they fight off damage in the body, right? Like cellular rust proofing.
Good analogy. The sources use simpler terms, saying it fights bad things and stops cells getting hurt by bad stuff. Scientifically, that means it neutralizes free radicals, unstable molecules that cause oxidative stress and damage cells. Quercetin mocks these up. It also helps dial down inflammation pathways.
And chronic inflammation can really drain your energy, can't it?
Absolutely. So by protecting cells and reducing inflammation, quercetin is supporting health at a very basic level. And the sources connect this directly to brain benefits.
By protecting brain cells from that oxidative stress and inflammation, it helps them function optimally. The sources state quercetin promotes cognitive function, specifically mentioning improved memory and attention. They say it supports overall brain health, helps the brain work better, and even suggest it makes you smarter. It's all about protecting the hardware, basically.
Protecting the brain cells allows them to perform better long-term? Are there other benefits mentioned for quercetin?
Yes, the sources also point to cardiovascular support, saying it helps your heart, likely again due to those antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects on blood vessels. And potential immune support gets a mention too, so it's a broad protector.
Seems like a key player in maintaining the underlying cellular machinery. Okay, L-theanine. This one's famous from green tea, known for being calming.
That's right. L-theanine is an amino acid found mainly in tea leaves. And it's really unique. As the sources describe, its main claim to fame is promoting calm and relaxation without making you drowsy.
How does it do that?
It's known to increase alpha brainwaves, which are associated with that state of relaxed alertness. You're calm, but still focused. The sources say it balances brain chemicals, probably referring to its influence on neurotransmitters like GABA, which is calming, and maybe glutamate.
So it eases mental chatter, but doesn't knock you out. How does that help with focus, then? Seems counterintuitive, maybe.
It's a really interesting synergy. While it's calming, L-theanine is specifically highlighted in the sources for enhancing cognitive performance and improving focus. The idea is, by reducing that internal noise, the stress, the anxiety, it frees up your mental resources.
Ah, less distraction.
Exactly. It helps the brain regulate its activity to promote focused attention. The sources say it helps the brain work better so you don't get tired easily and helps you stay mentally peaceful. It's explicitly mentioned as being good for your mood and reducing stress and anxiety.
And it works particularly well with caffeine, the sources suggest.
Yes, this is a key point they make. The combination of L-theanine and caffeine is highlighted. L-theanine is thought to take the edge off caffeine's stimulant effect, reducing the jitters and anxiety while preserving or even sharpening the alertness and focus.
Okay, that sounds like the secret sauce for the no jitters, no crash idea. Any other potential benefits? Sleep, maybe?
Yeah, the sources mention L-theanine is associated with improved sleep quality, not by making you sleepy directly, but by promoting relaxation and reducing anxiety during the day. It can lead to better, more restorative sleep at night. And obviously, good sleep is fundamental for next day energy and focus.
Addressing the whole cycle, not just the on-switch. Okay, inositol is next. What's the story here?
Inositol, the sources say, is a naturally occurring sugar alcohol, sometimes called vitamin B8, though not technically a vitamin. Our bodies make it, and it's in lots of foods. Its main job, according to the sources, is crucial for cellular signaling.
How cells talk to each other.
Basically, yeah. It helps cells send and receive messages, respond to hormones and neurotransmitters. The sources put it simply. Helps cells talk to each other and nerves work better. It's involved in those complex signal transduction pathways.
And cell communication is vital for, well, everything. How does it link to energy and focus?
The sources connect it strongly to brain health and mental well-being, which depend heavily on good cell communication. It's been researched for mental health benefits, and the sources state it can improve mood, reduce anxiety and depression symptoms, saying it can make you feel less anxious and happier.
How? By influencing those signals.
Presumably by affecting pathways involving key mood neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. This, in turn, supports overall brain health and cognitive function, helping with clear thinking.
So better brain cell communication leads to better mood and clearer thoughts. Anything else?
The sources also mention a potential positive impact on metabolic health and hormone regulation again, likely through its role in signaling. And significantly, one source directly links it to energy by saying it's good for your blood sugar, so you have more energy. Stable blood sugar is absolutely key for preventing those energy crashes and brain fog.
Right, avoiding the blood sugar roller coaster. So inositol is working on cell communication, mood, and metabolic stability. Okay, now for the seaweed, starting with bladderwrack.
Bladderwrack. It's a type of brown seaweed. You find it on coastlines. The sources describe it as being absolutely loaded with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. But the standout mineral they highlight is iodine.
Iodine. That's for the thyroid, isn't it?
Exactly. Iodine is essential for making thyroid hormones. And the thyroid basically runs your metabolism, how efficiently your body turns food into energy. The sources state bladderwrack's iodine helps the thyroid and hormones work properly. So if your thyroid is happy, your metabolism works better, which means more energy.
Supporting the body's main energy control center. What else does bladderwrack bring to the table?
The sources mention calcium for bones and teeth, and magnesium. Magnesium is huge, involved in hundreds of bodily processes, including muscle function, nerve function, even reducing inflammation. Overall, bladderwrack is presented as supporting hormone function, bone strength, muscle function, and general vitality. Full of good stuff, as the source says, to keep energy up.
Providing those essential building blocks and cofactors. How about the other seaweed, wakame?
Wakame is another nutrient powerhouse, also a brown seaweed, common in Japanese cooking. The sources say it's similarly packed with nutrients. They specifically call out vitamins A, C, and E.
Potent antioxidants, right?
Yep, helping protect cells from oxidative stress, that bad stuff we talked about. Wakame also provides minerals like calcium and magnesium, similar to bladderwrack, but the sources also highlight potassium.
Potassium is important for
Heart health and healthy blood pressure, according to the sources. Good circulation is vital for getting oxygen everywhere, including the brain and muscles. The sources summarize wakame as supporting overall well-being, immune function, and protecting the body from stressors, all contributing to keeping energy levels stable because it's full of those beneficial compounds.
So the seaweeds together seem to provide this broad spectrum of micronutrients and antioxidants, like a nutritional foundation.
That appears to be the role they're intended to play, yeah. Foundational support for the body's systems.
Okay, last individual ingredient mentioned, vitamin B12.
Ah, B12, absolutely essential. Our bodies can't make it, so we need it from our diet. And its role in energy is critical, as the sources highlight. It's a key player in the metabolic pathways that convert food, especially carbs and fats, into usable energy ATP.
So without enough B12, energy production slows down.
Exactly. Your energy conversion just isn't as efficient, leading to fatigue. B12 is also vital for making DNA and, crucially, for focus, maintaining a healthy nervous system. The sources note it supports nerve function, which is essential for clear communication between brain cells and for overall cognitive performance.
And if you're low in B12, you definitely feel it, right? Fatigue, brain fog.
Definitely. Low B12 is a classic cause of fatigue, weakness, difficulty concentrating. So, including B12 is framed as directly supporting both the cellular energy production machinery and the nervous system function needed for energy and focus. The sources also briefly mention other B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, and potassium electrolytes are in the mix, contributing to overall well-being and energy support, but B12 gets the specific shout-out for energy and nerves in the science details.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of individual components, each with its own proposed role. Stimulants, amino acids, antioxidants, cell signalers, metabolic supporters, foundational nutrients. But the sources strongly suggest it's not just a list of ingredients, it's how they interact, the synergy.
Exactly. This is where the formulation design really comes into focus, according to the sources. It's about creating a combined effect that's more than the sum of its parts. The most obvious example they point to is that interplay between the caffeine from guarana and the L-theanine.
The stimulant and the calmer working together. This sounds like how they avoid the jitters and crash.
That's precisely the idea presented. Caffeine gives you the alertness boost by blocking adenosine. But on its own, it can sometimes overdo it. Jitters, anxiety, eventually a crash. L-theanine, however, promotes that calm, focused state via alpha waves and neurotransmitter balance. When you combine them, the sources suggest L-theanine kind of smooths out caffeine's rough edges.
It channels the energy.
Sort of, yeah. It reduces the likelihood of anxiety and jitters, fostering that relaxed alertness. The synergy allows for sustained focus and energy, but without the nervous system feeling overloaded or that big drop-off later.
Makes sense. It guides the energy constructively. What about synergy for overall cognitive function? There are quite a few ingredients targeting the brain.
Right, it looks like a multi-pronged approach. Yeah. You've got ALC boosting energy supply to the brain cells, of course, to protecting those cells from damage. Taurine helping balance neurotransmitters and reduce mental fatigue. And inositol supporting the communication between the cells. And L-theanine reducing the background noise of anxiety to allow for better focus.
So they're working on different aspects simultaneously.
Exactly. The sources imply that optimizing energy delivery, ALC, while protecting the hardware, quercetin, ensuring smooth communication, taurine, inositol, and calming the system, L-theanine, creates a combined effect that's more powerful for focus, memory, clarity, and mental resilience than any one of those alone could achieve. It's like different sections of an orchestra playing together.
A coordinated effort. And for the physical side, sustained energy, performance, how does the synergy work there?
It's a similar layered approach. Guarana's caffeine gives the initial lift. But for the long haul, other things contribute. The seaweeds provide that foundational layer of vitamins and minerals supporting basic metabolism and vitality. Taurine helps with oxygen delivery and muscle recovery, supporting endurance. ALC helps tap into fat for fuel, good for longer efforts. And the B vitamins, especially B12, keep the core energy conversion processes running efficiently.
So initial boost plus sustained fuel supply plus muscle support plus efficient energy production.
Right. The sources suggest this combination aims for that prolonged, stable energy supporting you through mental tasks or physical activity without setting you up for a big crash afterwards. It's not just flooring the accelerator, it's making sure the engine is tuned, fueled, and maintained.
Which really reinforces that idea we touched on earlier that this goes beyond just energy and into overall well-being.
That's definitely how the sources frame it, a holistic approach. The argument is that real, sustainable energy and focus are deeply linked to your overall physical and mental health. The ingredients chosen are suggested to support wellness on multiple fronts, creating a stronger foundation.
And that's where something like fucoidan fits in, from the seaweeds.
Yes, the science source specifically mentions fucoidan. It's a polysaccharide found in brown seaweeds like the bladderwrack and wakame in the blend. It's highlighted for potential health benefits like anti-inflammatory effects.
Inflammation drags you down.
It's big time. Chronic inflammation is a major energy drain and can fog up thinking. Fucoidan is also mentioned for potentially supporting gut health and immune function. And think about it, a healthy gut means better nutrient absorption, maybe even better mood through the gut-brain connection. A strong immune system saves energy. So, by supporting these fundamental health areas, the sources suggest the formula builds a more resilient base for energy and focus.
It's connecting the dots between systemic health and how sharp and energetic you feel.
Exactly. And you can bring L-theanine back in here too. Its role in mood, stress reduction, maybe better sleep. Less stress, better sleep equals more energy and clearer thinking. Plus, ingredients like taurine, quercetin, and wakame's potassium support cardiovascular health-efficient plumbing is essential. And the broad antioxidant protection from quercetin and the seaweeds helps keep all these systems running well long-term.
So the holistic angle is really about supporting multiple interconnected body systems with energy and focus being the positive outcome of that overall wellness support, rather than just targeting fatigue directly.
That's the picture the sources paint, yes. A blend designed to influence various pathways for a more balanced, sustainable enhancement of performance.
Okay, that was a very thorough look at the proposed science. Let's try to synthesize this. What are the absolute core scientific takeaways from the material?
All right, so summing up, LIMU BLU FROG 2 is presented as combining natural components. You've got the stimulant caffeine from guarana, key amino acids like taurine for multiple roles, and L-theanine for calm focus, acetyl L-carnitine HCl for energy metabolism, especially in the brain, quercetin for antioxidant protection, inositol for cell signaling, then the nutrient-rich seaweeds, bladderwrack, and wakame, likely bringing fucoidan too, and essential B vitamins, with B12 spotlighted for energy and nerve function.
The caffeine provides alertness by blocking that tired signal, adenosine.
Right, lifts the brake.
Yeah.
Then you have multiple ingredients working together to support brain health, better energy supply, neurotransmitter balance, cell protection, communication.
And support for the body, too. Oxygen to muscles, energy conversion, recovery support.
Exactly. And crucially, the synergy, especially between caffeine and L-theanine, but also involving things like taurine for stress modulation, aims to provide that smooth, focused energy without the jitters or the crash. It balances the stimulation.
And underpinning all that are the broader benefits mentioned: antioxidants fighting cell damage, B12 for nerves and blood cells, amino acids for building and repair. It's presented as integrated multi-system support.
Yeah, the science described suggests it's aiming for energy and focus, not just by pushing buttons, but by supporting the underlying cellular processes, brain function, physical capacity, and overall wellness.
So bringing all this science together, what's the bottom line for you, the listener, trying to manage your own energy and focus day to day?
Well, I think understanding this kind of science is valuable because it lets you appreciate the how. You see, it's not just about throwing caffeine at the problem. It shows how a complex mix of natural ingredients can be designed to work synergistically with your body's own systems. It moves beyond just marketing claims.
It empowers you to make more informed choices.
Exactly. You get a better sense of what you're putting in your body and how it's intended to support you, whether that's choosing this product or evaluating others. It's about aligning choices with supporting your natural functions.
And the sources position LIMU Blue Frog 2 specifically as more than just an energy drink. They call it a science-backed formula, a wellness solution, aimed at enhancing performance across the board work, exercise, just daily life clarity.
Yeah, presented as a tool for that kind of integrated support, using natural compounds to hit multiple targets related to energy, focus, and vitality.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a final thought to chew on. We've just explored how these specific natural compounds, things from plants and seaweeds and amino acids, are thought to influence something as complex as our energy levels, our focus, even our mood, through really intricate pathways inside our cells and brains. It's pretty amazing how sophisticated our bodies are, isn't it?
Incredibly complex systems.
And it really highlights how much potential there might still be in understanding and harnessing nature, these compounds that have co-evolved with life to support our own well-being and performance in really fundamental ways. Makes you wonder what other powerful natural synergies are still out there waiting for us to uncover.
Thanks for tuning in to the iRoGaia Wellness Podcast. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. If you're curious about the products we mentioned today, you can find them all at irogaia.com. That's irogia.com. And hey, use the code irogia15 at checkout for a 15% off discount. Please note that the code is not applicable for Europe, some parts of the Middle East, and South Africa. Until next time, keep taking those steps towards a healthier you.